All right, this one's for all you students at OG School. We're going to tackle the one problem you are all hoping to have. What happens after you hit it big? We're diving deep into the psychology of sudden, life-changing wealth.
I mean, this is the dream, isn't it? The moment you've been grinding for. But the reality of a massive windfall, it brings this psychological weight that almost nobody is ever ready for. It can feel less like a victory and more like a total shock to your system, one that just changes your whole world overnight. This feeling actually has a name: sudden wealth syndrome. Now, it's not some official diagnosis you'd find in a medical textbook, but it's a term psychologists came up with to describe that intense identity crisis that happens when your financial reality is completely flipped upside down, leaving you totally unprepared for the emotional chaos that follows.
The good news is, believe it or not, this whole journey is surprisingly predictable. Psychologists have actually mapped out a four-stage path that most people go down. So let's break it down. Okay, so stage one is exactly what you'd think it is, just pure euphoria. All your financial worries are gone. You feel free, powerful, totally invincible. This is that massive dopamine hit, the feeling that you can do absolutely anything. But here's the catch. That initial high can actually be the most dangerous period. This is where the biggest, most catastrophic financial mistakes happen, because they're driven by pure emotion. That feeling of invincibility, it leads to reckless spending, crazy investments, and making promises you can't keep. It can set you up for failure before you've even begun. So, after the honeymoon, the party eventually ends, right? That's when the emotional come down hits. The high wears off, and you're left staring at the reality of your new situation. You start to really grasp the size of the change, and that critical need to set some serious boundaries starts to sink in. And this is when the core symptoms of sudden wealth syndrome really start to show up. You might feel this intense guilt, like you didn't really earn the money. Then comes the crippling anxiety about losing it all, and this deep paranoia about who you can actually trust. It can really shake your whole sense of who you are. Now, if you can manage to ride out that emotional storm, you enter the next stage. Here, the focus finally shifts away from the money itself and toward those deeper questions about your purpose. You start asking, okay, what do I do with this? How does this fit in with who I am and what I want out of life? And this is the end goal. This is where you want to land, transitioning from just being a lucky person who got rich to being an active, responsible steward of your resources. This is where you build a real plan for the long haul, for preservation, for growth, and maybe even for leaving a legacy. So you've got this whole internal battle going on, but honestly, the external pressures can be even worse, especially when it comes to your relationships. And yeah, this quote just hits the nail on the head. Suddenly, everyone from your third cousin twice removed to that person you kind of knew in high school is your new best friend. It gets incredibly hard to figure out who's being genuine and who's just sniffing around for a handout. Your oldest relationships can get really strained by jealousy and resentment. You might feel totally alienated from your friends because they just can't relate to your new reality anymore. This whole situation breeds suspicion, paranoia, and ultimately, this profound and deep sense of being all alone. So, how do you protect yourself from all of this? The internal chaos, the external pressure? The solution, it might sound crazy, is to do absolutely nothing at all. This is the most crucial first move. You create what the experts call a decision-free zone. For at least 3 to 6 months, you make no, and I mean no, major financial moves. This isn't procrastination, it's a strategic safeguard. It forces your emotional buy a Lambo brain to cool down so your logical brain can actually take the wheel. Let me be super clear about this. You cannot, and you absolutely should not, try to manage this alone. The very next step is to use that decision-free time to build a fortress of professional, specialized support around you and your new wealth. So your core team needs these 3 roles. And listen, the most important word on this slide is fiduciary. Your wealth manager must be one. It means they are legally required to act in your best interest, not theirs. This team is your financial brain, but it's also your emotional buffer, fielding all those requests so you don't have to be the bad guy. Okay, what about that nagging fear in the back of your head that you're going to lose it all? Well, there's a really simple but powerful framework called the bucket strategy that can give you an immediate sense of control. Think of it like this. Your first bucket is your sleep at night money. It's 1 to 3 years of living expenses sitting in something super safe and liquid. This protects your day-to-day life from any market craziness and gives you the peace of mind to invest the money in your other buckets for bigger goals and long-term growth.
Now, let's bring this all home for everyone here at OG School, because making it big in crypto, well, that's a whole different ballgame. It comes with its own unique, really complex challenges that you have to get ahead of right away.
You see, a lottery win is like a lightning strike. It's one and done. Crypto wealth? That's like trying to hold on to lightning in a bottle. The extreme volatility creates this constant, chronic stress. And on top of that, the tax situation is a nightmare, with a huge risk of getting in trouble if it's not handled by a pro from day one.
So for you guys, the real monsters under the bed aren't just market crashes. They're the taxman and hackers. Your absolute first priorities have to be getting your tax history straightened out. Yes, even for past trades, and radically upgrading your digital security to lock everything down.
And if you think this is all just theory, think again. Look at pro athletes. It's shocking, but 78% of former NFL players are either bankrupt or in serious financial trouble just a couple of years after they stop playing. This just proves that making the money is only half the battle. Keeping it is the real challenge.
So once you've built that fortress of professionals and strategies, once you've moved from playing defense to playing offense, you finally get to ask the biggest, most important question of all. What is this all for? What is its purpose? Answering that, that's the heart of real stewardship. Look, navigating this transition is going to be one of the most exciting and challenging things you ever do. But remember, the ultimate goal isn't just to be rich. It's to build a life of purpose that your wealth can support, not define. The real work starts now.